What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Monday edition of the NBA Slate Starter Podcast. I'm Eric /Clark Kent Lindquist, sitting alongside Ryan as we break down an 11-game NBA DFS slate on Monday. Yeah, my eyes just hurt. I couldn't really stop from putting on the glasses today. I had to do it. Been staring at a lot of screens recently. You should have stared at more screens because I believe a 4-game slate became a 3-game slate on somebody on this podcast real quickly, and it wasn't me. Ryan, how you doing over there, buddy?
I've had better Sunday nights playing in DFS, and the DFS gods are not on my side. I somehow didn't get my last set of lineups in time, resulting in me missing out on the Turkish Hall of Famer, Cedi Osman, someone who I enjoy rostering when I can, and I missed out on this situation. It's unfortunate. This is the second straight night where I've had to miss the first game on DraftKings just because of two different things, and it's just a bad stretch of things that happens, and that's why we play this game every day. So hopefully I find a way to dig up myself out of this hole somehow with the late night hammer that I'm going to be overexposed to just organically, but it is what it is.
Organically exposed to it. Go, who am I cheering for? Mo Harkless, I'm guessing?
I was cheering for Giannis, cheering for Steph, was cheering for Rashawn Holmes. Buddy Hield, obviously I had to go all out on Buddy Hield now. I'm
overexposed to Buddy Hield today. I just want to put that out there too. So I think this might be the night. Over on FanDuel, 6,500. Hard to not like that number. I mean, if you played him at 7,300 on DraftKings today? Did you play him there?
Yeah, I had to. I mean, just because I missed out on the first game.
Oh my God, Rayen Patnaik.
But unfortunately, I'm going to be saying no Cedi, no cash in my sleep tonight. So it is what it is.
No cash. No Cedi, no cash. Oh my gosh. Well, after that happy intro, I was about as happy as that fight on Saturday night with Weidman. Oh, that was.
Speaking of that, there's another gruesome injury in the NBA today to Devin Kennedy of the Magic. Really devastating for the kid. Rookie player. You never want to see anyone get hurt, especially for a rookie player. I mean, and a guy who's not I think he's undrafted, or
yeah,
he was sensational in the G League bubble. So.
Played well in garbage time last time out too, because I actually had to take a look at him. He played over 20 minutes. They lost by 30, but played really well in garbage time and actually looked pretty good in that game. That's a bummer when that kind of stuff happens. But
really sad moment. Mo Bamba saw how serious the injury was. He took off his jersey to cover it up. So really tough feelings in the city of Orlando and for the Magic team. But on to Monday we go, where it's a massive DFS slate.
Okay, on to Monday we go. On that happy note, hit that like button on the bottom bar. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching us on YouTube. And hit that notification bell so you know when this and all the other content at Awesemo is going live. We are being presented today by monkeyknifefight.com. Go to monkeyknifefight.com. If you are a first deposit, if you make your first deposit there today, use the promo code Awesemo, and you get $100, up to $100 first match deposit bonus. It's free money. Free 99 is the best 99. Go over there, play multiplier games on all of their prop games and prop offerings. There's NBA, MLB, PGA, NHL, UFC, all of the goodies over there, so check it out. Use all the projections, all the goodies we have at Awesemo.com to help make informed decisions, make good decisions over there. If you want to go hop over and combine it with some of Alex's projections, I tell you what, the NBA has been very, very kind over there, so check it out. Stop guessing, start winning, but definitely check out our sponsor, monkeyknifefight.com. You ready to get going, my dude?
Let's ride.
All righty. Well, speaking of the top end, I want to bring this up before we get into anything because it's going to kind of shape the entire slate. It's going to matter when we get this Dallas news because we have Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis. They seem pretty important to Dallas. They're both questionable. It is the only game locking after the 6 p.m. West Coast, so 9 p.m. on the East Coast time period. It's a 10 p.m. lock time for that game. So if we don't get that news ahead of time, you could be looking at crazy amounts of value or no value. And they play Sacramento. So that's just going to be lovely. So $11,100 Luka Doncic sitting on the top end in the absolute best matchup you can possibly be in for the most part. Sitting there on the top end, we're going to have a lot of interest there. Then Russell Westbrook sitting down below him at $10,900 in the middle of a floor game, beyond a floor game right now, which is really hurtful. Then we got to jump a bunch of Red-Os, meaning everybody's out. We're going down to Fred VanVleet as your next listed guy at $8,300. And then finally, John Morant at $8,200 up against Denver. Talk to me about the top end of point guard.
Well, yeah, Luca, if he were to play against Sacramento and if no Porzingis continues to be missing, obviously Luca could put up a massive, massive performance against Sacramento. He shot very poorly as the Lakers trapped him all night long, and he ended up finding a way to be very effective offensively. I mean, it's a phenomenal player, and he got going on the facilitating end as he got up to 13 assists. I don't think Sacramento is going to figure out how to stop Luka Doncic. If he were to play, you got to love him. And if he's not playing, it's going to open up a lot of value that we can talk about as we go. Russ Westbrook against San Antonio. He's going to be a great recency bias if people are really upset with his performance today against Cleveland. Washington has been winning a ton, and Washington needs to continue winning to stay in the play-in game picture. So I like going to Russ 11-2 and 10-9 on FanDuel and DraftKings, respectively. No issues there. Same with Toronto playing a Cleveland team, which will be on a back-to-back. VanVleet was sensational on Saturday afternoon, played 40 minutes. Nick Nurse, you know what he likes to do. Give these guys minutes. And if he's going to play minutes like that, we got to continue to roster VanVleet against Cleveland tomorrow. And I think on FanDuel, we got to look at John Moran, 7,900 matchup versus Denver. I know he played Denver the other day and 45 minutes, put up 71 fantasy points, but he's putting things, turning things around when it matters the most for Memphis now. Was really good in 30 minutes of play, put 44 fantasy points up. I think we'll take north of 44 fantasy points at that FanDuel price tag. How do you feel about Conley as the team will take on Minnesota again with no Mitchell? Do you have any interest in going to Conley at those DraftKings and FanDuel price tags?
Yeah, I'd like to see him play more than 30 minutes. That'd be great, but I think this would be an all right spot to be going to him. Fast-paced Minnesota matchup, pace up, could go out and absolutely blitz him, and if they do, you got to think Mike Conley's going to be a guy who plays pretty darn well in that spot. We'll get to Clarkson at the shooting guard position. Also hasn't really played over 30 minutes, but Utah's really good. That's kind of a problem. They could just annihilate Minnesota without trying. But 7,100 on FanDuel might be a little tough for me to get to on this slate. I think we have these super ceilings up top with Luka if he goes, Russ Westbrook for sure, John Moran even at 8,200. Now that he's started to look a little bit more like the John Morant we're used to. 3 games of 46 or more, 2 games of 60 or more in his last 4. So we like seeing that out of him, and this is going to definitely be another Stars and Scrubsy one with an 11 gamer. You got to think like going that direction for sure. Looking down at the bottom end, again, it's going to be thin here at the moment looking at it because we don't really know how some of this injury news is going to shake out. We got done playing a bunch of Chetty Osman and Cleveland's on this slate again. Darius Garland, 7,500. If you're going to continue to have Sexton out, which I believe he will be, he got a concussion and I don't see him playing again. Garland just played awesome in the first half here, and now I think he was playing really well again in the third quarter. And Darius Garland, 7,500, I'd expect him to be somebody you can definitely play too. Last guy I want to ask you about here before we move on, Kobe White. Played 38 minutes, put up 47.25, but now he's at the border of like whether or not I'd want to be rostering him. I think it was pretty easy under 6K. Now he's 6,300 on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings. What do you think about him going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that price tag is appropriately priced for his production of late. So no clear dog for Kobe White at that price tag. Someone who I think was riding up until this price tag, so I'd be willing to take a look at ownership, and I probably would come under the field on a guy like Kobe White in that type of situation, just because I do think that price tag is a bit too high for my liking.
Yeah, it sucks because I've been playing him a lot. It's been really, really fun, but now it's up there, and Satoransky's back, and I know Sato didn't play that many minutes that first game back here. Let's see. He played, 13 minutes, so he's kind of been on the outs there. Came in, started for him, then they ran everybody out of town to Orlando, and here we are. Way to go, Bulls. Way to put things together. But no Levine definitely means that I might still have a couple of shots, but he would have to be low on for me to have any interest in him. Let's move along to shooting guard then, shall we? Yeah. Top end over there.
The Philly guards could be potentially good.
Okay. Yeah, Philly as well. Sorry, it cut out there for a second. But yeah, Philly guards for sure. Shake Milton. Let's see, not Isaiah Joe. I don't know why I was looking over him. Isn't Maxey listed there too? Yeah, Tyrese Maxey's at shooting guard over on FanDuel. That's what it is. So 21 minutes. But yeah, Shake Milton, if Ben Simmons is going to continue to be out, definitely like that call too. Going to the top end of shooting guard over on FanDuel, Paul George is $10,000 over there. Bradley Beal's $9,400. Then it skips down all the way to DeMar DeRozan going up against Washington, who I expect to be garnering some ownership after missing a game against Detroit on the 22nd of April. Ended up playing on the 24th, put up 50.4 in 37 minutes. Now gets this Washington pace up spot. Washington will be on a back-to-back. That seems nifty. Last two guys I'll throw in. Fred VanVleet, as you said, he's played 40 minutes, put up 55.5 against New York. Those are big numbers. 7,300, you're getting a discount. He should be pretty popular there. And Devin Booker would be a contrarian guy in that mid-range. 37 minutes, put up 40, but 8K against New York might be tough to get to. Talk to me about the top end of shooting guard.
Yeah, top end of shooting guard definitely. He's going to be having some loaded options. I think Paul George, still no Kawhi. Like you mentioned, I think is a fine option to pay up for. Bradley Beal makes for a great pivot on both sites. I think that's fine to consider, but tough not to love VanVleet just because we feel so secure with those minutes that he's been getting. And I think they're going to need to keep winning. They're on the outside looking in, I believe, in the play-in game situation. So that's Toronto's kind of drowning at the moment. They just need to get back to treading water even. But other guys in the shooting guard spot, I'd be willing to go back to Bogdanovich tomorrow against Detroit, just because of the matchup. He will be going from Drew Holiday to rookie Killian Hayes potential, which is probably a night and day difference for an NBA player. So I think Bogdanovich makes for a great option over there on DraftKings at the shooting guard spot. And he has serious upside, as we've seen what he can do without Trae Young, and he can pay off that price tag. Other guys in the shooting guard spot, Halliburton on both sides. I think we still need to ride him as long as Fox is out. There will be some massive games where he puts up. And I think he kind of hit a rookie wall there for a little bit, but I think this will give him some confidence to get back going yet again for Halliburton. Other guys at the shooting guard spot over there in FanDuel, DeRozan against Washington. Washington has been playing better defensive of late, but DeRozan can find his way to getting buckets for sure. Someone who was very impressive the other night on Saturday was Deangelo Russell. He's playing just 30 minutes, seems like his cap, but he's being very effective on the offensive end. Him and Cat have like an interesting, fun two-man game going where they're feeding off of each other. Russell only had one assist against Utah the other day, so I think there are many ways he could improve on his fantasy production for Minnesota against Utah. And I think we still need to consider Clarkson just because of the great matchup Minnesota is.
Definitely agree. Yeah, Russell 6,400, 6,300 over on FanDuel. Yeah, that's going to be a spot to be getting to a little bit of, as you said. They ended up beating Utah straight out by 5, which I don't necessarily need in my life. I'm here to tank. Why not? That seems about appropriate. We have zero chance to get into the playoff hunt, but at least seeing Deangelo Russell play well is a plus. Also, I believe in relegation. Just throwing that out there as a sidebar. There should absolutely be fines for tanking, but so long as it's a thing that you're allowed to do, you should probably do it if you're Minnesota, because we have nothing that we are playing for. Moving our way down along the shooting guard position, it's a lot of these guys have started to be priced up here, but Cedi Osman is still at 3,800 shooting guard eligible over on DraftKings. If he ends up getting the start again, I know he got bumped up by $700 after he started tonight, but it's against Toronto. He's playing big minutes here tonight. I like getting to that direction again. Sorry, Rinpack, had to say a buzzword there. My apologies. And then last guy I'll throw out, and then this just has to do with the fact that I think Sacramento's on a back-to-back. We'll see how this rotation plays out, but don't overlook, and this is super thin right now, but Terence Davis, a guy that if you were to get to 20-plus minutes for Sacramento, depending on who they play on this back-to-back for Sacramento, just a guy to keep in mind, because we saw him play 30 minutes 2 games ago and put up 33.25 against Dallas. There is no Fox. I got to think that there's at least a little bit of a window of hope for Terence Davis to get increased run there. And if he's a guy who just goes out and chucks it. 9 for 12, 5 for 5 from 3 in that game. Obviously very shooting dependent, but as of the value that I don't know exists yet, which we're going to have a ton on an 11-game slate, Terence Davis would be a guy you could take some shots on. I think you've liked Terence Davis once or twice this year too, right?
I have, and Terence Davis hopefully gets more minutes with no Fox in the picture, but that's going to be interesting to see what happens, especially tonight, as Halliburton will be getting the start.
Yep.
Hopefully, we can be ahead of the field with that situation.
Yeah, agreed. And we'll see. Well, tonight will tell a lot on whether or not he's actually even involved or not, but on an 11 gamer might be tough to get to. Small forward over here. We got in the top end. Luka Doncic, small forward eligible on DraftKings. Bradley Beal, also small forward over on DraftKings. 11-1 and 9,700 for those two. First true small forward, Jimmy Butler, 9,500 against Chicago. A little revenge narrative at home. Probably not, because why would there be at this point in time? He played for two other teams in between it, in Philly in Minnesota, but if you're trying to draw something out of it, why not? Brandon Ingram, 8,900 going up against the Clippers. Tough matchup. Also, that's a big tag to be paying for him on an 11-game slate. You're basically paying for a ceiling that he's expressed twice in the last 10, 57 plus in those, but might be tough to get there against the Clippers. And last guy to throw in, DeMar DeRozan, 8,700. At least he's inflated over on DraftKings. Whereas on FanDuel at shooting guard, he'll be very popular. 8,700 should suppress his ownership a little bit, but still thinking he'll be popular on DraftKings. Talk about the top end of small forward.
Yeah, top end of small forward, obviously over there on DraftKings. Butler's there. Brandon Ingram, who is in a matchup against the Clippers. I think it's a sneaky game environment for Brandon Ingram. I think he's kind of not earned this elevated price tag. He's just not been. You want him to consistently be over 40 points. He just seems capped at 40 points with Zion just dominating the ball over there in New Orleans. Other guys who have been good, Michael Porter Jr. has been sensational. He's been overlooked and he's been balling out, man. He had a career high the other night on Saturday night. I like going back to Porter Jr. against Memphis yet again. Buddy Hield on both sides. As long as De'Aaron Fox isn't there, I'll take my chances on Buddy Hield just because I feel like there's a pathway for him to take 20-plus shot attempts. And anyone who's going to take that many shot attempts, I'm going to have significant amounts of interest, and especially on DraftKings where you get the 3-point bonus for Buddy Hield. Makes for a fine option. Utah seems appropriately priced now in Ingles and Bogdanovic. Tough for me to have a ton of interest besides their matchup being elite, but they struggled the other night, man. Minnesota Cat is going to single-handedly give up that pick to Golden State, and it just seems like that's what's going to happen for Minnesota as Russell and Cat are just trying to get some chemistry together and not realizing what are the ramifications of them winning are. Spending down at the small forward spot, other guys who stand out at their price tag. How do you feel about going back to Torrey Craig? Put up 20 and 14 today against Brooklyn, put a 41.5 fantasy points, played 32 minutes, was obviously there on the court more to guard Kevin Durant, and the elite Brooklyn Nets offense was sensational fantasy wise. We haven't seen this type of Torrey Craig game in a long time. There's a few games in Denver he was like this. Yeah, this was sensational performance from Torrey Craig.
Yeah, he's a great defender. We know that his time that he's bounced around everywhere. What was he? He's been all over the place for the most part. I know Milwaukee was his last spot. Where was he before that? Was it Utah?
No, he was in Denver.
Denver, that's what it was. Yeah, he played alongside Gary Harris, and that was kind of the duo. And he's always had irrational minutes, even back to then. You kind of never knew what was going to happen, whether he would be super involved or not. It was generally him and Gary Harris kind of stifling people defensively there for a little while a couple of years ago. And then, yeah, goes to Milwaukee, didn't really get a lot of run there. In Phoenix, sure. I mean, they kind of know what their MO is. They're going to play defense. Between him and Mikal Bridges, that's not a team you want to be playing in the Western Conference Finals with wings. They can definitely play some D. So up against New York, a slow-paced game, that doesn't help, but 3,500 on DK, absolutely in consideration there. Have no problem going there. Also, that just told me, did you play the Showdown slate this morning?
No, I did not play the Showdown.
Oh, you just saw that. You're so sharp. I can't even stand it. Torrey Craig, yeah, definitely 3,500. What is he over on? Where is he? Shooting guard on FanDuel? Yeah, he's shooting guard on FanDuel. So letting that be known, 3,500 over there. Curious what his ownership will be there. But small forward on DraftKings, definitely a good call. Ready to move across to power forward.
Let's do it.
Top end, Julius Randle, 10,100 up against Phoenix. Again, that tough defensive matchup, but Julius Randle is just good, and the Knicks keep winning basketball games, and it's madness. Zion Williamson, our boy, 9,700 up against the Clippers. Tough matchup, but I'm going to play Zion all the time, so that's just kind of the way that is. Anthony Davis played 28 minutes, still not quite in the realm of consideration when he's 9,200. Do you think maybe we could play him at 9,200 for a couple of minutes? I'll get your thoughts on that. And then Pascal Siakam, 9K, played 37, 40 minutes. Really hard to imagine playing Anthony Davis at 30 minutes when you can get Pascal at 40 minutes. Talk to me about the top end of power forward.
I wouldn't mind Anthony Davis of 30 minutes.
I was curious if you were going to say that. I had a feeling. Go ahead.
Anthony Davis with in his career obviously has shown an upside in 30 minutes, can pay off a massive performance. And who in Orlando is going to slow down AD?
Nobody is the answer. Sorry, my Postmate just got here and I'm texting the fiance to grab the food. Go ahead. You caught me.
No. The thing is, that was the point. No one. It was silence because no one's going to stop AD on the Magic. So
it's a good bit.
I think he's a great pivot off of Randall and Zion Williamson. A super low ownership, not a cash game play by no means. Just keep in mind, Anthony Davis might not even play tomorrow. I'm just saying, if you are willing to take some risk in 150 lineups, you can definitely take some chances with AD. Other guys spending down over there in power forward on FanDuel. Harrison Barnes is still going to play a ton of minutes. I feel like he's going to play 40 plus minutes with no Fox, take extra shots, makes for a fine option. Jeremy Grant against against Atlanta, I think is a fine option to go to. And then he is someone that we need to hope he gets 30 plus minutes because he can pay off that price tag. Other guys over there, we just got word Robin Lopez is going to be out for some time in Washington. Came back to the bench with a brace on his leg, I believe. Daniel Gafford. This opens up more minutes for Gafford. If Gafford finds his way to mid-20s minutes against San Antonio, I don't mind that 5-1 price tag for him at all. And Kem Birch and Aaron Gordon fall in the same range. How the mighty have fallen with Aaron Gordon. He cannot play more than 30 minutes on this Denver team. It's really upsetting in terms of fantasy-wise. He's just not been good fantasy-wise on this Denver team. There's got to be an upside game coming from him at some point, man. He's not this bad, is he?
No, he's not this bad. And I think it's a product of how much talent Denver has. They don't have like superstars outside of Jokic. Like even Jamal Murray, I wouldn't call a top 25 player in the NBA by any means or anything.
I call Michael Porter a top 3 player in the league.
No, you're insane. Yeah, I knew you were going to do something stupid like that, like say that. The career high 39 points was fun to watch the other night. I got to catch a little bit of that game. He was really, really good. You want to talk about the ceiling? He ended up in the optimal, I believe, on DraftKings as well, or in the winning lineup at least, I know from Saturday. But regardless, Michael Porter Jr., so talented. Aaron Gordon, obviously we know that he's a proven NBA talent. Bol is not even getting minutes, and he's a freak of nature. Like, think about that. How many guys they have that? I mean, RJ Hampton was just sitting there wasting away, and he ends up in Orlando, and I think he's going to be a decent piece there as a rookie here going forward. But so many guys that Denver's had that are just like top 50 to 100 players in the NBA in the last couple of years, and they just keep finding ways to draft well. So they're impressive, and now getting Aaron Gordon's really the first trade piece. I have no concerns. He'll start spiking a ceiling here eventually, but that tag did need to come down a little bit. 20 minutes, they won by 13 against Houston. I think it was just a product of that game, but usually been around 27, 29 minutes for the most part. That's still going to be tough to get there at 5,100, so it probably needs to come down a little bit further. But anybody else that you're looking at power forward? I saw Pokashevsky sitting at 4,400 on FanDuel. We know the kind of block upside that he can have, which is kind of what you're targeting is ceiling outputs. Daniel Tice at the same price tag, played back-to-back 25-minute games. Anybody else stick out to you?
I believe Dort is going to be missed for Oklahoma City, so that opens up things for guys like Darius Baisley and Alexa Pokashevsky. So I don't have any issues going there. Spending down a slate like this, you really want someone sub 5K to really, like, I guess 10x their salary because such a huge slate value is going to open up. Davis Bertans is someone who can get hot from the outside. Don't have any issues taking some chances with a streaky shooter like him. But that's really about it, and it's a tough power forward slot outside of the studs that we talked about.
Yeah, Isaiah Roby as well, last guy I'll throw on. He put up 36.6 in 28 minutes against Washington, but figuring out that front court just sucks. It's really, really hard for OKC. It's not an enjoyable place to target. It's the first game right off the bat. You have Baisley back. You have Pokashevsky there. You have Tony Bradley there. You have all these dudes. Moses Brown, obviously, who has ceilings in certain spots, but I haven't figured that one out for the last month, so I'm probably going to skip out on a lot of it. Going along to center, are you ready? Close it out?
Let's do it.
All right, Nikola Jokic. I want to talk about some ceilings here. Nikola Jokic, $11,000 going up against Memphis on DraftKings. Karl Anthony Towns, $10,700 going up against Gobert again. Coming off of only 46 fantasy points, but a win in that spot. Towns can win any matchup. I'm think you'll agree with me there. Nikola Vucevic now up to 10-3, which is a big, huge number. Put up 48 and 54 DraftKings points his last two. Did get up to 39 minutes last game, which was good to see in a close game against Miami. So in this back-to-back Miami spot, maybe that can happen again. And then the big question, Joel Embiid's questionable. If he ends up playing, sitting there is the cheapest of those four. He'd probably be the one I'd have the most tournament exposure to, because him without Ben Simmons is just outrageous, some of the numbers that he puts up. But if he doesn't play, it could be Dwight Howard season. But talk to me about the top end of center.
Yeah, top end of center is going to be led by Cat and Jokic for me, and that's not particularly anything hot by any means. Both are great. I think Vooch is a great pivot off of them. We get Embiid news that he's going to play fully go. I believe he's close to playing. He was just like, yeah, probably did a jumping jack and just like, I'm just going to sit this out. So Embiid, if you were to play salary matchup, all things put together, probably my favorite center on both sides, just because I think Embiid can put up a massive, massive performance. He on an interview told Shams Charania that he feels like he's the MVP. So he needs to start playing like it, playing more. So over there in FanDuel, where you're going to only have the roster one, I don't mind playing Vooch at $8,700 or a Bam at $8,500. You'll make your lineup definitely unique if you're saving off a guy like Jokic and Cat and Embiid, but you know what the opportunity costs when you're doing something like that. Valanciunas is going to be, I believe, playing fully against Jokic, so he's another contrarian option. And I'm starting to think Andre Drummond's going to start to play around 30 minutes in this Lakers role. The doubles there's only been like one, it feels like, in LA so far. So he just needs to figure out his consistency and go from there, in my opinion. Other guys, if you want to spend down, I can't envision Plumlee putting up another 50 burger like he did on Saturday night, but he's not completely out of play at that price tag, only $5,600. And I believe he comes in at $5,800 on FanDuel over there. But that's really about it. Tough to miss out on the studs and their specific matchups. And I think Nerlens Noel deserves a shout out just because he's playing 30 minutes, and Noel always has an upside on FanDuel where he picks up those blocks.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. I'm looking around at other things to possibly go to. Kem Birch saw 33 minutes against New York. They have Chris Boucher, who's going to be out here. He had a sprained MCL, I believe it was, in his left knee. So I believe Kem Birch is going to be the guy, 4,800, who might play 30-plus minutes. You could take a punt on him at under 5K. But, yeah, as you said, you got to get center pretty correct on this slate, especially on FanDuel where you can only play one, obviously. But on DraftKings as well, I'm sure there'll be some value that emerges that we don't really know about yet. Like maybe Kevin Love rests on the back-to-back, and then you get Hartenstein, who's 3,700 now. Who's been a pretty decent fantasy point per minute guy in limited minutes. Maybe you get Gafford 3,900 over there. Definitely would stick out on DraftKings where you're playing too.
Yeah, Gafford's going to be massively popular as he just wrapped up a 46 fantasy point day.
Is that good?
I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty good when he's under 4K. That's going to be nifty. So so bottoms up now. Brandpack, I think that's it for us. You got anything else, or you want to close it out?
Yeah, Daniel Gafford season tomorrow, so get ready for that.
Yeah, you look just despondent. Best of luck with CSVs tomorrow, my dude. Oh, man, I don't even know.
It all.
You need it all. Yeah, MLB, NBA, we have all the goodies over here going on. Two fantastic slates, it looks like, for Monday. For Renpack, I'm Eric. That's literally all we have for today. That was just a hodgepodge of an 11-gamer. There's going to be a ton of news, so make sure you have your notifications turned on your phone. Check into all of our content going on throughout the day over at the YouTube channel, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday. Good luck, guys.